Here is the generator, and we will try to explain this generator a little bit better. And that's how it looks like. This here, these things here, these stars, these 12 stars here, this is where you wind the copper wire. Okay, this material here is Hiperco 50A, and as you can see, this is the rotor, this here, and there is a pretty thick deal with material between the stars, and the point with this generator design is that the magnetic field will not note a difference between the stars here and this between here. So if the area here between here is thick enough, from there to down to there, there to there, if that area is thick enough, the magnetic field will not notice the difference. So in other words, you will have a Lenz, you will have a cogging free generator that will not have any how to speak, the magnetic field will not note a difference, and you will have no cogging. So that's some of the point with this generator. The other point with this generator is that since the material here, those stars here, those 12 stars that is around here, those are thin plates in a special material, a super alloy named Hiperco 50A, and that material has a very high magnetic saturation, so it can lead magnetic pulses on very long distances compared to other materials. And by doing it that way, I can move the copper wire away from the rotating field, and I can still pulse the copper coil by the Hiperco, because it's a high magnetic saturation material. So impossible to do work with kids in the house. So the problem is solved. The Lenz braking force part is solved by removing the copper wire away from the magnetic field, and then still use a material that is highly magnetic, have a highly magnetic saturation. You can still pulse the coil, and you don't have any Lenz effect whatsoever, almost or close to nothing. And Hiperco 50A is just like stainless steel. Stainless steel have certain types of stainless steel has almost no Lenz effect whatsoever, and this material can be compared to stainless steel when regards to Lenz effect. However, Hiperco and stainless steel is different when it comes to magnetic saturation. Stainless steel doesn't lead magnetic pulses whatsoever. Okay, it depends on what kind of stainless steel it is, but most stainless steel doesn't lead magnetic flux whatsoever in any way, and it is not magnetic as well. But Hiperco has the same, more or less the same Lenz effect as stainless steel. However, it is different in the way that it can lead magnetic pulses to on very large distances. So by doing so, I'm creating a Lenz effect generator, because the copper wire will not break on the magnetic field. So what you see here is basically that, and this generator, I call it a RDM generator. My initials is used, my forename, middle name, and after name, so it becomes RDM, the RDM generator. So basically you can see these stars here, and this here in this area here, from down there you wind the copper wire around here all the way to the top, and you do that on all this, on every one of these stars. Okay, and you wind the copper wire in such a way that you start here, you finish this star here, and then you go down with the copper wire down there, and then you continue down here, and then you wind up like this, and then when you come to the top, you also make sure you put tape on there. You tape the wire down there, and then you start there, and then you wind up. So, and you do that on every one of these stars, and make sure that the copper wire is at a distance from the rotating magnetic field, so that it will not create Lenz effect on the copper wire. Then you have a free energy generator that basically can produce free energy or produce energy without a lot of need for any input, and of course since the Hiperco material, this one, all this here is the Hiperco material. Since that is almost Lenz effect free, just like stainless steel, the magnetic field on this rotor in the middle here, that's the rotor with all these holes and rings here, those are where you put the magnets. So and those magnets has almost nothing to break on, because the copper wire is moved far away from the magnetic rotating field. Yet the Hiperco itself makes sure to pulse the coil with magnetic forces, linear standing waves, and that's what produces electrons, or gathering electrons. So this generator here will be very close to Lenz effect free generator. As well, if this area between here, let me just turn around a little bit on this, that's not the right one to if this area here between these stars, okay, between these stars here, if that area here, as I said, that area here to there is thick enough that way, the magnetic field will not take any notification on anything. So it means that the magnet will not attract itself more to the stars than it will to this one. And so if it's thick enough here, then you will have no cogging effect, which means again you will have no vibrations. And it's a very, very good thing to have no vibrations, because vibrations is sound. Eventually it translates to sound, and sound is a harmonics. And if the generator have noise, no waveform in form of sound, you will have vibrations in the whole damn thing, which will interact with magnetic fields. Believe me, it will, because the material will swing, and that will create bad fluctuation into the coils. So by doing this design, you get a vibration-free generator, because no magnetic cogging and no Lenz effect, and or at least very close to zero Lenz effect. So this is a very, very good generator design. Absolutely, I invented this in Sweden just now 3 months ago maximum. Maybe a little bit more than 3 months, but yeah, something like that. And the cool thing about this generator is that it only consists of except for the rotor, let me see if we can except for a rotor, let me see here. Yeah, now except for that one, except for the rotor, which is this one, except for that one, the whole damn generator is just made by three identical parts. So if I go here and this is one part, this is the end plates that is lighted up now. That's the end plate that holds the bearing, which again holds the drive shaft. And then you have this plate. It's a sheet metal plate with 12 stars on, and in between here you have plexiglass or plastic, 5mm thick, and this Hiperco here is 1mm thick, and this part here is identical with next part. So it is two parts, the sheet metal in Hiperco and the plexiglass in between. There's only two parts that is replicated all the time, so you only need to make two parts that is identical, and then you can replicate and make this generator as long as you want. It is I believe it's a unique generator. I do really believe that. By only, you see, that's the Hiperco sheet that is cut out to become a star, and or have 12 tongues, if you like, and those tongues is where you wind the copper wire, and in between now what is marked is the plexiglass, and it has a hole also for the generator. No, I'm sorry, for the rotor. And then you have a new plate or a sheet with Hiperco, and then you have a new one. So it is only two parts that is replicating all the time. So it's a very easy build, and as well it doesn't require as much accuracy and precision as the Bill-Muller generator, because the Bill-Muller generator will not turn or unity unless you have it extremely unless you have extremely high precision on everything. It will never turn over unity. So it's a very hard thing to build a Bill-Muller generator, because it requires a very high precision on everything. Adjustments in every direction has to be within 100 part 100 of a millimeter. But this generator doesn't need that. Everybody can build this generator, and everybody can gather energy out from it without a lot of need for high input, because it's a Lenz effect free generator, or very close to being one. The material Hiperco 50A have a lot of hydrogen in it, and because it has a lot of hydrogen in it, the electrons has not so much room to create Lenz effect in the material. It is hydrogen baked in an oven for 9 hours on 920 degrees Celsius, with air sucked out of the chamber, of the heat chamber, and pure hydrogen is pumped in at a pressure of 20 megapascal. So the material itself is pumped with so much hydrogen that the electron has not so much let's say space or ability to grip the material, and that creates a material that is almost or close to Lenz effect free. And because it's 50% cobalt, cobalt has very good properties with leading magnetic fields. It can pulse the coil, still being almost close to Lenz effect free. So it will be a very, very good generator once you have built it. But the clue here is absolutely Hiperco 50A, which I discovered in 2009 to be an almost Lenz effect free generator. Må du tyst på det, du? So it is really necessary to use Hiperco 50A. Without it, this generator is worthless. The Hiperco you can find on Alibaba or any place really in China, any homepage, Alibaba, made in China or whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to take apart this generator just a little bit. So I'm going here and auto explode it. I see here why how did I do that? This is the newest solid edge. I'm not used to drawing it, doing work in it. Auto accept top level assembly, accept, and then automatic explode options, automatic spread distance, why I cannot now, let me see now. Okay, now it got spread out a little bit. So I put 10 millimeter distance between all the parts, and let's see here if we can find if we can see how it is put together here now. Well, that's there you see the rotor with the magnets on. You see the end plate with the nuts, and you see the bolts and everything, and the bearings and everything. So that is basically how it looks like. It is only this it's only 2 parts that is multiplied all the time. All the time it is multiplied, and that creates a generator that you can extend and make bigger as you wish, just by replicating 2 parts. And of course you also have to make the rotor longer, and well, to do that you basically need a longer rotor shaft, and then make a longer rotor where you have the magnets. So that is the most difficult part by later extending the generator to become longer. You have to have a longer shaft on the rotor to make it longer. So that may need to that may require that you need to make a total new rotor. But it is nevertheless it is a very simple generator, very simple generator. You just replicate these 2 parts and go on with it as long you wish, and then make the rotor accordingly to how long you make it, and all these things here, all these stars here is where you wind a copper wire, and it's fully possible that by moving, let's see here if I can go into a little bit zoom. If ever you discover magnetic cogging, the good thing here will be to change the plates a little bit, these plates here, so that these plates become between this one and that one. Okay, so that you spread out the stars so that they come in between each other, or yeah, in between. That this here will be in between here and there, and then you will have then you are guaranteed to have no cogging effect, and that's good, because no cogging equals no vibration. But you can also make this the material between that point there to that point there, you can make it thicker, maybe as thick you need to have it to have no cogging effect. And it can be the distance from there to down there can be many inches if necessary. That's not a problem, because Hiperco will lead the magnetic pulse, linear standing wave pulse, when you are stille, to a very to a distance on approx 1 meters or more, depending on the material thickness of the Hiperco, of course. But I have played around with Hiperco since 2009, and I was the first one. Actually, I started to play with it in 2008. I was the first one ever on the internet that posted a video about Hiperco, and that is almost a Lenz effect free material. Well, you can say that I was the first one to put ever a video on to in the applications for free energy generators. I have long experience with its material in the term or in the area of free energy research and free energy generators. I noticed some backdraws with the material too, but I have rods 12 millimeter in diameter, solid rods, 12 millimeter in diameter, and 1 meter long rod, and you have a neodymium magnet in one end that is strength N45, and is 1 inch in diameter and ½ inch thick. Can easily lift a carpenter hammer weighing almost 1 kilo in the other end, and at 1,000 millimeters distance. That's amazing. So the Hiperco material is just an amazing material. It's a super alloy. There is no other term for it. It is just a super alloy. It's amazing. And for a free energy generator build, it's just a knockout material. Okay, I'm going to turn a little bit around on this, and so you can see a little bit here and there. So you see you have basically this part. I will turn off that. We see here what happens. Computer is a little bit slow, I guess.